What it do, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to the Day by Day podcast for your Day by Day broadcast. I'm your host, Day with an I, not a Y, do not X, Y. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by political science chair at Virginia State University, Charlottesville, Virginia City Council member, CEO of BCIC, Black College Invitational Championship, which is making its way to Charlotte, North Carolina. You might have seen him on one of his many interviews with The Breakfast Club on YouTube, sharing his knowledge and takes on political views. Ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by the one and only Dr. Wes Bellamy.
My man, appreciate you for
What's
having
up,
me,
bro?
man.
Appreciate
Thank
you for
bro.
pulling up, man. Taking
Yeah.
your time out of your schedule.
You know, I'm honored to be here. You know,
Yeah.
if you're going to be in Charlotte, you got to be on this pod. So I'm honored to be in your presence, brother. Thank you
man, I appreciate
for the work
that.
you're doing.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Same to you for everything you're doing. Made your way out here from Virginia.
Yeah.
You're a busy dude because I saw
bit.
your stories.
Yeah, a
We
little
scheduled this up for this afternoon. I'm looking at your story. You're at
Yeah.
Virginia State playing
Yeah.
basketball. Did y'all win?
Yeah, we won the tournament.
Okay, won a tournament. Congratulations on that.
Yeah.
And that was like a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
I'm like,
it's in
I'm like-
Atlanta yesterday.
yeah.
Snowball flight to Richmond this morning. That was a 7 a.m. flight. Drove here, and then I'll be in LA tomorrow.
Wow.
And Saturday, back to Virginia Monday, Houston Tuesday. Yeah, it's the grind, but you know,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Do you the grind? Do you prefer it? Do you like it that way?
I enjoy helping my people.
Mm.
So whatever is necessary to help my people and allows me to get back home and be with my daughters
Yeah.
is most important to me. So,
Right.
you know, spending time with them and building with them is key. So
Mhm.
as long as I'm accessible to my family and then secondly to my community so I can still do what's necessary,
Yeah.
it's all good.
Got you. So with being that busy,
Yeah.
like sleep, what's sleep like for you?
I mean, everybody always asks me that. That's a great question. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna address this here because
Okay.
like I get asked that like every day. I sleep. Let me look into the camera. Which
That's
one's
you,
mine?
that's
This
you
one.
right there.
I
That's you.
sleep every night just like everybody else.
Okay.
I don't. People always like, how do I
Yeah,
sleep? Or
yeah.
when do I sleep? I don't need as much sleep.
Uh-huh.
So you know,
What? How much is how much is how much? Like average, how many hours?
if I can get 5.5, 6 hours,
Mhm.
then I'm good. I try to be sleep, 11 or 12.
Okay.
I'm usually up around 6,
Yeah.
5:30 or 6
Yeah.
to get a jog in or meditate
Yeah.
or do whatever it is I need to do.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I get 5 or 6 hours. It's cool. But I don't drink. I don't
Mhm.
smoke. I try to eat pretty decent, so I don't need as much recovery time. I
Mm,
work out a good bit. Like I try to run every day, so
yeah.
my body doesn't need as much recovery time as others. I don't judge either. Let me make sure I'm not being condescending.
Yeah.
But
No, I mean you're speaking
cool.
facts because
Yeah.
when you drink, like your body, like recovering from drinking, like I just had a little bit too much wine
Yeah.
2 nights ago,
Uh-huh.
and I stopped drinking for a minute, but like
Yeah.
even still, like after that, I woke up like, damn, like I needed a little more. I needed
Yeah.
like an extra hour of sleep. Like I
Yeah.
need to hydrate some more. Like it's real.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't partake, and again, I don't judge. So for me, I just get my rest and then I do what I have to do. I also
Yeah.
sleep on the planes. I mean, I fly a good bit. I'll sleep
Mhm.
on the plane.
Yeah.
I sleep while I'm charging my car. So
Yeah.
I mean, I get the rest, but for me, I try to be purpose driven.
Mhm.
I know God has given me an assignment, so I try to do my best to fulfill the assignment, and that's really where the energy comes.
Yeah, I was ready to say. It sounds like that's what keeps you up. That's your caffeine, if you would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know my purpose. I learned my purpose really early on in life, and I try my best. I'm not always perfect, but I try my best to do what I can
Yeah.
to fulfill my purpose, which is ultimately to help our people.
Mm-hmm. That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
So where are you from originally?
Yeah, so I was born in South Carolina, a place
Okay.
called Atlantic Beach, South Carolina.
All right.
I grew up in Atlanta. My mom and my dad, we moved to Atlanta when I was 1 or something like that.
Mhm.
And then my dad left and it was just me and my mom. So grew up there, spent, the school years in Atlanta, and then would spend our breaks back in Atlantic Beach or with my family where she's from in a place called Burgess. Atlantic Beach is one of the only black-owned beaches on the East Coast.
Oh, wow.
And in America for that matter. So it's where Black Bike Week originally started.
Okay.
So I grew up seeing, Black excellence and Black economic gains within that community. And then growing up and spending my formative time in Atlanta,
Mhm.
seeing Black mayors, Black school teachers, Black politicians, Black police chief, Black fire chief. So I grew up understanding my people, loving my people. I read Uncle Tom's Cabin when I was like 7th grade. I loved history.
Yeah.
My mom has these videos of me walking around saying I'm Malcolm X. I used to like love watching the autobiography of Malcolm X. So, you know, us and loving us is really what I grew up seeing, and
Hmm.
I knew that's what I was supposed to do. So it's really just kind of learning how to navigate those waters. I ain't always make the right decisions, and I'm still trying to make better decisions in some regard. But
As we all are,
yeah,
brother.
yeah,
As
yeah,
we
yeah.
all
I don't
are.
want to paint this picture like I'm perfect because I'm not, like in
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
shape, form, or fashion. But I do believe in very much so helping us and creating endeavors that supports us so that
Mhm.
we can do what we can for us.
Yeah, for sure. That's dope.
Yeah.
And you came from two different places
Mhm.
in the South Carolina and the Georgia, Atlanta
Mhm.
area, which are predominantly black areas,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, yeah.
So with Atlanta, you said you grew up seeing a lot of public figures that were black that
Mhm.
in most other places aren't.
Right.
And they say that that's the case a lot in general
Yeah,
with Atlanta.
yeah.
So if you could just speak on just how I think they call it like the Black Mecca,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like just
Well,
what
old
that's like.
Atlanta, I mean, old Atlanta is really different to me. I mean,
Mhm.
now I'm sounding like an old head, but old Atlanta is different than new Atlanta. The Atlanta I grew up in was very much so community oriented. Uh, People just really looked out for each other. Don't get it twisted. Like it was crazy. My neighborhood was hectic.
Mhm.
And that's kind of how Jeezy and I connected. But like it was hectic, but
Yeah.
nonetheless, there was a sense of togetherness.
Mhm.
There was a sense of looking out for each other. There was a level of respect and just certain things that and codes that people followed. And more than anything, we were a southern city, but it was, you know, we black.
Yeah.
We gonna make sure we take care of each other. So that's what I saw growing up, and I
Right.
think that really, like I really knew outside of my neighborhood, and you know, even I would say even within my neighborhood, like just understanding that you can do whatever it is you want to do,
Mhm.
but sometimes these systems aren't created for us to be able to make it out.
Yeah.
There's essentially, you know, one or two persons who are fortunate enough to be able to make it out of certain environments. I was lucky enough to be one of those persons, but God has blessed me immensely. And now I feel like I have an obligation because people poured into me when I was a youngin'.
Mhm.
I may not have had the traditional mom and dad, you know, do certain things with me, but I had neighborhood folks, I had community folks, I had, you know, people at like my church or again, people around the way.
Yeah.
Even people who kind of did things they probably shouldn't have been doing,
Mhm.
making sure that I was straight. So I
Right.
firmly believe we have an obligation to look out for those who are coming behind us as well.
Yeah, the village. You're
Yeah,
saying the village.
yeah,
The
yeah,
village
yeah,
raised you. And you
yeah,
mentioned how which is true in America as far as being black in America, you have certain disadvantages
yeah,
compared to others.
no doubt.
But and some may use that as a crutch to as why they didn't get to where they think they should be.
Hmm.
Do you think that's a fair reason or excuse, or do you think that being in that disadvantage would make you stronger?
Well, I think it's nuanced in some regards. So I believe that um, different individuals have different levels of resolve based
Mhm.
off of who you are intrinsically,
Okay.
and some of those things are you develop your internal fortitude, if you will, based off of experiences, based
Mhm.
off of background knowledge. Some of it will just be, you know, this is what God blessed you with. You got a certain level of tenacity. I always encourage people to be patient with people, but impatient with progress.
Mm.
And we have to be patient with people because we have to understand that for some individuals, no matter what community you grew up in or where you were raised or what was around you, there are indeed certain factors. There could be generational trauma. There could be, you know, systemic factors. There could be um, just things that have happened and transpired in your parents or great grandparents' lives that are still hereditarily within you.
Yeah.
And you're still trying to push through that trauma. Then, when you couple that with substance abuse, you couple that with mental illness, you couple that with maybe a lack of self esteem, or somewhere along the line, somebody cut your legs and they told you you weren't going to be A, B, and C,
Mhm.
and then you didn't have someone following up with you saying that you aren't going to be that
Yeah.
or you're not defined by that.
Right.
Those are all factors that lead to some of us, not all of us, but lead to some of us being in certain situations.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, those of us who have been able to make it out, or those of us who have been able to push through, we have an obligation to be patient with our people to go back and help them. Like, we can't turn our back on our people because none of us can afford to be able to fight alone. We all have to fight together if we want to win this fight, a fight in which I firmly believe we are winning, but we can do so much more when we collab and we work together, just kind of like what we're doing right now, having this conversation, which I do think personally happens more often than we give ourselves credit for. Like, we do value each other.
Yeah.
We care about each other. We love each other. We just have to be able to continue to show that and provide that example. So that's really like a major factor for me, from an individual perspective, that we love each other, and because we understand how these systems work, we can't judge or condemn our people. We just either have to help them or commit to doing no harm towards them. Yeah, which I think is equally as important as helping them.
Yeah. Greatly said, man. Greatly said. Real quick, you mentioned how you met Jeezy. I know you guys are close. You shed a lot of light as far as achievements between the both of y'all. And I saw something on your IG as far as a story and how y'all first came across each other. But if you could go ahead and lay that out for me and the people.
Yeah, I mean, that's my man. That's my big bro. I love him to death. I really hate that too. People's like big bro. Like,
You hate saying it, or you hate when people call you big bro?
No. I just sometimes I'll be like, it's funny sometimes when people say stuff like that. But no, that's my man. I love him to death. So when I was like 10 or 11, I can't really remember, but we used to sell water. My friends and I, we were, selling water like you see so many kids
that's
doing.
An Atlanta staple, ain't it?
Yeah, I mean, so we were selling water, trying to raise money for our AAU basketball team.
Okay.
It wasn't even AAU then. It was like literally travel all-star team.
Yeah.
So we needed $2,500 to go to Chattanooga, Tennessee. And we were selling drinks and, selling stuff on the road. And I remember seeing him. He used to be around the way, and he had a blue Lamborghini. So I didn't know him, but everybody knew Dog. People called him Dog.
Okay.
So he pulled up, and he's like, "Yo, what up, cuz? Like, what y'all doing? Whatever." And it wasn't me that went up to him. It was one of my friends. And they're like, "Yeah, we trying to raise money." And he's like, "For what?" And we tell him, blah, blah, blah. He's like, "Where y'all coach at?" So I'm just watching the interaction. And coach came over, and rest in peace, Coach Dickerson. And he, he's like, "Well, how much y'all need?" He's like, "Well, we need 2,500. We had 300, but the boys gonna be out here for the next few weeks." He was like, "Oh, okay." And then he just pulled out $10,000. And then he told my coach, like, put them in the best hotel, make sure they eat the nicest, like, make sure y'all get there in a nice van, like, don't rent, get something nice. And I remember just like, damn, watching from afar or watching from the side.
Yeah.
Like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be able to do that. Not necessarily from the sense of, everybody know what Snow was doing during that time.
Yeah.
And that was a thing in our neighborhood. It is what it is. But I wanted to be able, like, I never forgot that because I wanted to be able to get older and then, like, help someone in that regard. Like, effortlessly just be able to help somebody.
Yeah.
So then we reconnected when I got a little bit older. We were on a panel together, and after the panel, he had hit me, and he was like, "Yo, like, I've been seeing you on TV or whatever," and I was telling someone, I ain't gonna say their name, I was telling him blah, 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 like, I know him, like, that's Little Wesley. He was like, "Are you Little Wesley?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Wow.
And he was like, "I was telling, blah, 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 like, I know him, like, I remember he was a kid."
Yeah.
And then he was just like, I've always, wanted to be there to support you and from afar, but now I want to make sure I'm really here to help you with whatever you need. And he's my favorite rapper. He's my favorite artist of all time. And, I always say to him, like, I ain't trying to bother you. You busy, I'm busy. I ain't trying to bother you. But he really, really has been supportive, man. Like, anything I ask him, "Hey, can you come and do this?" I asked him to come to Charlottesville to give away some bikes. Like, he changed his whole schedule and came.
Yeah.
Which is huge for my community because we don't like have people like that come there. He's really supportive. Anything I ask him, if he can do it, if it's within his means or within, the power of what he's working on or what he has going on, he'll do it. And he's just a genuine good dude, man.
Yeah, so, and that's 10,000. As
right.
a 10, 11-year-old seeing that, I'm pretty sure that, like you said, it triggered something onto, like, I want to be able to do this. Like, that's
I want to do that. I want to be like that.
That's crazy.
Like, this dude pulls out and then counts out, like, "Yo, y'all need 2,500. Here's 1,000, 2,000. It counts out 10, and I'm like,
wow.
Yeah, like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I always thought, like, whatever I got to do, to be like that,
Yeah.
that's what I want to, that's the kind of impact I want to have on my community. And I mean, I think in some regard, it's worked out. I ain't necessarily giving out $10,000 checks, but I'm trying to do my part.
Nah, yeah, you definitely having an impact. It doesn't always have to be just monetarily. You definitely leaving an impact. So shout out to Big Snow for that, man. That's tough. You mentioned how we pulled up to Charlottesville, Virginia to do a bike giveaway. Like I said before, you're involved with City Council for Charlottesville. You're also the commissioner for Tonsler Basketball League in Charlottesville. So you're very...
Okay, my man done read up on it.
I do my research, man. I have to.
Give him his flowers. Give him his respect.
So you're heavily involved with Charlottesville, Virginia. So if you could just talk about, which is a historic city in Virginia, Charlottesville. So if you could just talk about the importance of Charlottesville and like how, you know, much of a factor that is in your life and why you're so involved with it today.
Oh man, I love the city, man. It's home. Like, you know, at this point, I'm from Charlottesville. People ask me, you know, where you at, where you from? You know, I'm from Charlottesville.
How long have you been involved?
15 years now. I moved there in 2009, September 2009. Just came up on 15 years. So yeah, I served as the vice mayor, city councilman. I was the youngest person elected. And now I run our Tonsler League. It's a basketball league. It was started by my guy, Damian Banks. And then 4 years ago, I took over the league. And we've been trying to build and do some really good stuff there. So we have annual bike giveaways, annual turkey drive, coat drive. People kind of know me for community stuff in that regard. I chair our housing authority. So kind of helping lead redevelopment, public housing redevelopment, ensuring that our residents and our people get what they have and what they rightfully deserve, because housing is a right. And I just enjoy being in the city, man. It's a place where, even though in 2017 we had to endure something horrific with the white supremacist rallies and attacks, or them, you know, whatever the case happened there, rest in power to Heather Heyer. It's a place where I really, really just feel at peace. It's a community of people who have welcomed me with open arms. And it's a place where they know I love them and they love me back. It's a place where I know, like, no matter what, no matter where I go, no matter what my other accolades are, or what's coming up, or if this person doesn't like me or whatever, I can always go back home. I can always just pull up at the store. I can always just jog around the neighborhood, and it's gonna be love. You know what I mean? So in that regard, man, I really love the city, and I appreciate them. And most importantly, it's important for me to get back home. Like I always want to be able, wherever I'm going, a couple of days to do my work or whatever, but I want to get back home because it's important for me to be present, visible and available in the city, because there's so many people who count on me, but not like in a narcissistic way, but I count on them and feed off their energy as well. So it's mutual.
What initially brought you to Charlottesville?
Yeah, crazy story, man. I don't know. This is weird. So I went to South Carolina State undergrad. I got my master's and doctorate from Virginia State, but I was in undergrad my junior year, and there was a guy who came to a job fair, and he's like Ed Ryan. He's like, yo, I'm reading your resume. Like, I got a job for you, but I have to go on this deployment in Virginia. When I get back, I'm gonna get you right. So I'm like, yeah, sure you are. Right. Like I'm a junior. I used to throw parties and stuff. Like, I mean, school was lit. I had a lot of fun. So I'm like, yeah, all right, man. I ain't. I ain't hearing that shit. Like, all right, cool, bro. All right, I'm doing this for class.
Right.
So my senior year in March, I get this weird email from this place, and they're like, yeah, we've been reviewing your profile. We would like to bring you in for an interview. And I remember telling my professor, Dr. Spann, like, these people from Virginia, like, send me this thing. I ain't going to no Virginia. I'm moving to the north, and had a job offer here in Charlotte, which my oldest daughter was about to be born, Michaela. I had a job offer in Greenville, and 2 back home in Atlanta. So I'm like, I'm definitely not worried about that. But sometimes it's what God says and not what you say. So this is 2009. You know, we're kind of in the recession in some regard. All my other job offers fell through. And the only one that was left was with this government agency, NGIC, in Charlottesville.
Wow.
So my cousins, they packed up my 1-bedroom apartment from school. I drove the U-Haul. One drove his car. My other cousin drove my car. And we rode up, and it was like the whitest thing I had ever saw in my life. It was culture shock. And my cousin's like, yo, you sure you want to stay here? Like, it's nothing but white people. And I'm like, I guess. But you know, it was tough the first couple of months, but soon I found my people, found my community, started working with the Boys and Girls Club. Then started doing more community work in our public housing sites in West Haven and First Street. Found my footing, then started a boxing club for kids and ran for city council, and then kind of, the rest is history in that regard.
That's what's up. That was definitely God.
Yeah. Oh,
definitely
man.
God.
It's where I was
right
supposed to be.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
for sure.
So, you follow and you try to be obedient, and I'm a firm believer that he'll order your steps.
That's what's up, man. Shout out to Charlottesville.
Yeah.
How far is Charlottesville from Virginia State, from St. Petersburg?
So it's about an hour and a half.
Okay.
So yeah, I make that drive. It's 100 miles from my crib to campus.
Oh, you make that drive every day?
No, I don't make the drive every day. My students, they're gonna watch and they're like, yeah, Dr. Bellamy is not here every day.
Yeah, okay. Right.
So I'm the chair of the department.
Yeah.
I'm usually there Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Okay.
I do my other community work on Monday and Fridays.
Got you.
Right now, it's been a little different. My school is giving me a little bit of leeway. I'm the public policy chairman for the 100 Black Men of America. So we have a 24-city tour, Real Men Vote, where we're going across the country, engaging with Black men about voting. We were just here in Charlotte last week. So I've been literally since the summer through November, traveling the country, engaging Black men in voting. But I do that, make sure I get back to campus, teach my class, do my administrative work, and get back to it. So it's a grind right now.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, that's a nice little commute, even if it is only 3 days. That's a nice little commute.
But I tell people all the time, like, you never know what's setting you up for what. So I used to be a high school teacher. And Virginia State is also where I got my master's and my doctorate. So people were asking me, like, why are you driving so far to get your master's? But I wanted to get all 3 of my degrees from HBCUs. I had someone say something crazy to me about HBCUs when I was young. So it was more so like to prove a point.
What did they say?
Well, they were like, yo, you'll never be able to accomplish these things you say you want. Like, you want to be a councilman and a governor. I wanted to be the governor at the time. I was like maybe 25 or something. It's like, yo, really? Like, from an HBCU? Like, come on, Wes. Like, seriously? And I never forgot that. So I was like, nah, I'm gonna do it. Like, I'm gonna show you. So I was driving. I was making that drive 2-3 days a week for class, essentially for like 6 or 7 years straight, because I got my master's and my doctorate back to back.
Right.
So that was really just a precursor for me working there, and then soon becoming the chair of the department.
Yeah.
So my body's accustomed to making that drive. It ain't even nothing.
Right. You've been doing it.
Yeah, and all of that was preparation.
Yeah.
Like, it was just preparing me for what I was gonna be doing later on.
Right. Well, let's talk about HBCUs. Like you said, you're undergrad from South Carolina State, master's and doctorate from Virginia.
The real Bulldogs. I don't know what you got going on.
Bowie State. Hey, listen,
I don't know.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up, because
Yeah.
I be seeing your interviews and stuff. You be wearing your VSU shirt.
Yeah.
I thought you was going to wear it. It's actually better you wore your BCIC joint, but I thought you was going to wear it. So I went to Bowie State for 2 years.
Okay.
Played football there. I got recruited there out of JUCO.
Okay.
We went 1-1.
Okay.
Y'all beat us, then we beat y'all.
Yeah.
But
it's always competitive.
Always competitive. And I have really good friends that went to Virginia State. So both years, whether we won or lost, like, it was good.
Love.
Like, a little bragging, but it's all love.
Yeah, love.
But I will say this as far as Virginia State and Bowie State, because Bowie State was the first HBCU I attended. I didn't go to a PWI as my JUCO, but it was in New York. It wasn't technically a PWI, but it was not a lot of white people.
Okay.
It was mostly Caribbean, Latina, and Black with some white. But nonetheless, I get to Bowie State, and what I would say about the football rivalry, at least, is that, man, that was one of the dopest things I experienced. Yeah. Because at the time, Damon Wilson, the head coach at Bowie State, and I don't know the name of the Virginia State coach. He was a great coach nonetheless. They were line brothers.
Oh, word.
Yes.
Okay.
So we always played each other for each other's homecoming.
Oh, so that's how that started. Okay.
Yeah,
you put me on game.
Exactly. That's how that started. So my 2 years there, they told me about, the backstory, and I was like, damn, that's dope. Not sure if they're still doing it.
Yeah.
But
I know a couple years ago, y'all scheduled us for homecoming.
Yeah. So that's how it would go. Like, it would literally go back and forth. Yeah. So my first year at Bowie State, it was our homecoming, and y'all came to our field. And that was the most lit football game I've ever been involved in, because it was one of the most packed at Bowie State, first and foremost. It's homecoming, it's Virginia State, it's our rival, both undefeated in the conference. So it's like battle for the number one in CIAA North. And it was even a more great game, because like, it was a close game and we came back on y'all.
Okay.
Like, y'all were up.
Yeah.
And then we came back. Shout out to Amir Hall. Still to this day, the best quarterback I've ever played with.
Okay.
He brought us back and we won last second.
And then won at homecoming.
Won at homecoming.
Y'all was lit.
Here's the thing. If we lose at homecoming, we can't do nothing. Activities, coach won't let us do nothing. And if you get caught going to anything, that's your ass.
Word.
So you can't go to nothing if we lose. So we like, damn, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because you know how it is homecoming. You lining it
trying
up.
to be outside.
You got shorties lined up that you go together with, politic with, everything already lined up. So we like, damn, bro, we down. We can't lose this, bro. We cannot lose,
Trying to be outside, bro.
Yeah, we trying to be outside. So we came back and won. Came down to the very last play, Hail Mary, and we won. So we was
What year was this?
2016.
Okay.
Y'all threw the Hail Mary, but y'all didn't catch it.
Okay.
So that's how that game ended. And, in the homecoming, that was the most lit homecoming I've ever been involved with.
You had a lot of fun.
Man, a lot of fun.
That's dope, man.
A lot of fun.
That's the beauty of our institutions, man. You know, we joke about your school, my school, blah, 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 but the tradition of us being able to support each other and love up on each other and those cultural similarities.
Yeah, it's really dope. Dope. And let me give VSU their props. The following year, we went to y'all for y'all homecoming.
Okay.
So it's early. Like, I think we had a 1 o'clock game.
Like 1 or 2 o'clock. Yeah.
So we're pulling up, and to get to the field for the buses is a long road with a whole bunch of like fields, right? So we turn into the campus. This was the most lit thing I've been involved in at another school.
Yeah.
We're pulling up and we're going down this long ass road, and it's just tents galore. Endless tents just set up, people out there, you know what I'm saying? They chilling, they vibing, they cooking out on the grill. And we're driving, and they just giving us all this bad energy because we ride with people out and I loved it. I'm like, yo, this some type stuff you see on like ESPN. You know what I mean? Like they giving hand gestures, they letting us know where we at. They holding up their towels and stuff. I was like, yo, that's lit. And then we ended up losing that game, but still, I always remember like pulling into that, because it was just like it didn't stop. It was just tents on tents on tents on tents with fans just letting us know where we were at. And
that's dope.
I like
man.
that. Yeah,
that's dope. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Trojan pride, Hill State, and it's a little different because I didn't go to undergrad there, and then you in grad school, like you getting your master's and your doctorate. It's dope, but it's not the same thing. Like you grown, like I'm going to class and I'm going home. Right. But teaching there and then kind of seeing these different. Just meeting these different alumni and seeing how much they enjoy the games is, and school pride they have. It is second to none, man. I love it.
Yeah. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
It's homecoming season.
Yeah.
Speaking of HBCUs, you went to not only 2 different HBCUs, but you went to 2 different conferences.
Yeah.
In the MEAC and the CIAA.
Yeah.
So let me ask you.
Don't ask me. No.
I gotta ask you. I gotta ask you. I know what you think I'm gonna ask you. It's close to that, but I'm gonna start with this.
Okay.
Which HBCU is the GOAT of HBCU homecomings?
Okay, I'm glad you did. All right. See, you're gonna get me in trouble because no matter what I say, it's gonna be it's smoke.
I already know.
I would say, I mean, obviously, where I went to undergrad, because let me make sure I need to be able to go home.
Wes,
I need to be able to go home. The livest homecoming in America is South Carolina State University.
Okay. Now you're non-South Carolina.
Well, hold
State
on. Let me say this too, though. Hold on. So personally, it is my favorite because when I go back to school, and I felt this way. I don't think I've said this on camera, but I'm going to say this to all the alumni going to watch. When I go back to school, because I don't get to go back often, I'm usually only there like at homecoming.
Right.
The amount of love and support that everybody gives me, it really re-energizes me. And I don't know if like they know how much it means. Like I've been to homecoming during some real hectic times, times where we're going through the statue stuff, like, and feeling like, damn, like the world is against me, or like all these people are coming against me. And I would go to homecoming, and man, the hugs or, the daps or, bro, I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
We with you. We support you.
Yeah.
Man, it's really an energizer booster for me every time I get to go back in a world in which, you're fighting and you're doing all these different things.
Right.
So from that perspective, I genuinely do mean selfishly. I'm re-energized when I get to go back to South Carolina State because like they genuinely love me. And then they've seen me grow up. Like I was a little hectic in school. So you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like they've seen me from fights in the yard to now fighting white supremacy. And like that really means a lot. So I would say outside of South Carolina State, Norfolk State has a really good homecoming.
Okay.
Their joint is crazy. Obviously, A&T is dope. Central's homecoming is dope. I'll tell you one that I also went to that I didn't know was was really gonna be, what it was. But I went to Lincoln's homecoming one year.
Shout out to Lincoln.
That was
Yeah.
dope.
Lincoln is sneaky.
Lincoln is sneaky.
I've been up
Yeah.
Lincoln once or twice. Lincoln is sneaky.
And then Tuskegee.
Okay.
Tuskegee, man. I think there's really something to the very rural states, like the Alabama states and A&Ms, or the Jackson states, the Tuskegees, like how Black folk there, which we all are very similar, but like it's a different flavor than what we have over here on the East Coast. Because even though like I went to school down south, it's still like East Coast down south.
Yeah.
And like
Atlantic, it's the
South, exactly.
ACC area.
Yeah. And like that area, like the Alabama, Mississippi, like Prairie View, those schools, Texas Southern, like it's just different. Their culture is different.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate it. So I would say, those. I didn't give you a definitive
answer. I need one.
Damn, bro,
that was a real good dance around, and I'm pretty sure those schools gonna appreciate it. I need one.
The best
outside of SC State.
The best non-SC State, non-Virginia State. I would have to go. I would have to go with Norfolk State.
Norfolk State. Okay. Shout out Norfolk State. All right.
It's a thing. Shout out to my man Jay King and everybody else out there. Norfolk State is. Yeah. Next question.
All right, cool. Yeah, we can leave it at that. Attending HBCU for all of your college years.
Yeah.
What's your biggest takeaway from attending HBCU?
I would say that we have everything that we need. We got everything that we need. Yeah. We don't have anything to prove to anyone else. Literally any and everything that we need and or we want is within us, and we have within our network.
Yeah.
So it's just about us believing in each other enough to go and do it. And that's why we started. I know we'll get to it. Sorry, but not to skip ahead. But that's why we started the Black College Invitational Championship. Yeah. Like, we don't need to beg anybody else to let us in their tournament. We can have our own HBCU March Madness.
Yeah.
We don't need to beg anybody else to validate us or our sport programs. Like, we have everything we need, and I think it's there where I learned, like, you don't have to ask permission from anybody else to do what your people need. You go do it.
Yeah,
like,
you set the table.
You set the table. Yeah. Like, literally, I don't have to beg you to be at your table.
Right.
You go set the table, and then there's enough of us. We got chefs, we got servers, we got cooks, we have front of the house people.
Yeah.
We got hostess. We have everything you need for your restaurant to be successful.
Yeah.
Let's tap in with each other and build it. And we can do that. So I can't wait to be here in Charlotte in March of next year. But to answer your question, those are probably the biggest takeaways I have.
What was your favorite part?
My favorite part of being an undergrad?
Yeah, let's say undergrad.
Ooh, my favorite part of undergrad. I would say learning about myself and who I was in terms of shaping and developing my purpose. But even my friends and my professors seeing something in me that I didn't necessarily, like, I knew was in me, but I didn't know it was as obvious.
Yeah.
So, like, it was there where I really learned, like, you really like a community person.
Yeah.
And like, you're a leader.
Yeah.
So don't waste your time doing dumb shit. Like, cause this is who you are. And then I would say, like, my friendships, developing my friendships. Most of my friends were all from New York. So we lived together. I went and spent a lot of time in New York with them. I was in Harlem and Brooklyn and Queens and even upstate. So like, I had a crash course in reggae, everything New York culture.
Yeah.
You know, like literally everything New York culture. Yeah. I spent like 4 years living in New York.
Right. And it's night and day compared to the South.
It is completely night and day. But man, those guys, you know, Kwame, Vaughn, Vic, Ryan, Cadell, Tony, like, and we still talk, you know, still some of my best friends to this day. Yeah. And I learned a lot about other cultures in that regard. And then also, like, being at South Carolina State and then having friends at Claflin, like my best friend Russ, he went to Claflin. His and our relationship developed there while we were in school. So I think, again, more than anything, like just the friendships and developing my network, but then also understanding this is who I am. So you be yourself, and you take this confidence that you learn here and then go do God's work.
Yeah, I agree as far as the friendships and relationships built and the professors. That was my favorite part of attending Bowie State and HBCU was the professors.
Yeah.
Because, with college professors, they have so many students. Because mind you, I went to Towson for a semester. So I experienced PWI and HBCU.
Towson in Maryland. Yeah.
Yep. So, you see the professors that just there to, okay, take these exams here. Here's the curriculum. Take these exams. Cool. Bye. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and there's even a few of those at HBCUs.
Yeah,
not
no
every
doubt.
professor, right? But you have a better chance of coming across professors that really pour into you. And that was the first time I experienced that. I had like maybe one or two in high school, but at the college level, when you really forming into an adult, it just hits different.
Yeah.
Because they see, a whole different side as opposed to you being 16 years old.
Right.
So me coming across that for the first time, as far as in professors that really poured into me, really wanted the best well-being of me as a Black man in America, that was like life-changing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was hands down my favorite part. So I agree with you on that.
Yo, you are absolutely right, man. The professors, and we try to instill that at Virginia State. Like, we want to be those same kind of professors. We try to challenge our students a lot to think and think critically, but then also reminding them, like, I love you. Yeah. I love you enough to do anything for you. And I love you enough to hold you accountable to get the very best out of you because we are developing revolutionary leaders.
They definitely hold you accountable.
Yeah, man. I agree with you for sure.
What was your favorite course while attending the HBCU?
Ooh, my favorite course, I would have to say Dr. Span's 400 business marketing seminar. So I was a business management major, and my senior thesis was about like what business would you want to open, and I wanted to be a barber. So I wrote mine about being a barber, like owning my own barber shop. Like literally, I didn't have any plans of like running for office or being in this community. Like I just wanted to open a barber shop and like have a spot where Black folk could come to, and like she really challenged me to think about the barbershop's role in the community. And she was one of the first people to tell me like a barbershop is a Black man's country club. So what kind of ambiance are you going to set in there? Like what kind of conversations would you have in your barbershop? And I think that shifted my thinking in terms of what I want to do for my community. So, Dr. Span, I still talk to her. Dr. Ora Span, I love her. I love her to life. And then probably my accounting class, Dr. O. And it was one of the hardest classes.
I was already saying, he must have been a hell of a professor for you to pick accounting.
No, not because I enjoyed the class.
Yeah.
Like I passed with a C.
I'm saying it was because of him, I imagine, right?
Yeah. Well, not even just because of him. I think that was one of the first times that I had to understand, like, you're not going to be perfect at everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not just going to know. You're not just have this God-given ability to just, you have to study. You're going to have to work hard. You're going to mess up, and then you still going to have to come back. You're going to have to work with your classmates and really lock in and have some study groups. And like, I think that was really important for me to learn that lesson. And then, having a healthy fear of, damn, I might fail, and then I did it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I took accounting 1 and 2.
Bruh. Yeah, we had 1 and 2. And it's like, dog, you can't run away. Like I had to learn, you can't run away from these problems. You can't run away from these issues,
I legit broke down in accounting too. Like one night I legit cried.
Yeah.
Bro. I'm like, yo,
bro, to make you do that. Like,
no way I can figure this out, bro. What is this, bro?
Yeah. And then afterwards you get through it and it's like, oh damn, you know what I'm saying? I can do anything. And then I would say lastly, I had a class called World Civilization, 1600 to 1750. And it really talked about the first group of Blacks who came to America and then understanding who we were prior to enslavement. And I think that tapped back into something that was already in me and reminded me of who my people were and who my people are. So I think those 3 classes. My
That's
bad.
what's up.
I'm not really like a good one person.
Nah, it's cool. Those were great
Yeah,
ones. The last
yeah.
one you named is similar to my favorite course I took at Bowie State, which was Black History 1865 to present.
Okay.
That was my favorite one. And the professor, she was dope too. I can't remember her name, so
Yeah.
pardon me for that if she's tuning in. But yeah, she was dope as hell. Like,
Yeah.
and the course was dope because you hear about Martin Luther King and
Mhm.
Malcolm X, you know what I'm saying, in public schools. But like that one really went into details for a lot of people that I didn't know about, but I
Yeah.
really found interesting. The one that really stuck out was the Black Panther Party. I had to do an assignment on the Black Panther Party. Like we each were assigned something. Mine was the Black Panther Party. And man, that shit was so dope.
Yeah.
And I really keyed in on Fred Hampton.
Yeah. Chairman Fred.
Exactly. So his story, I mean, anytime I even think about his story, it pisses me off
Yeah.
how they did him, right? Which is the case for a lot of stories, how they did it for a lot of us. But his,
Indeed.
you know what I'm saying, the fact that I really had to
Yeah.
tap into that and study
Yeah.
the details, like, you know what I mean? So that was dope. But then a couple years later, Judas and the Black Messiah comes out the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm telling people like
oh, this happened.
Yeah,
I
I
know
see
this.
the commercial.
Yeah.
I'm telling people like I filmed the movie, like I directed it or something. But yeah, that class was definitely dope. And then also my uncle we actually came across my uncle E.D. Nixon from Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay.
He was part of the
The Freedom Riders.
the boycott.
The bus boycotts. The Montgomery bus boycott.
Yeah, the Montgomery bus boycotts. He was part of that. And you know, like he actually came up a few times. And like I remember when he first came up, like she would look at me. And I was like, yeah, like that's my uncle, that's my great uncle. So like that was dope to, you know what I'm saying, come
That's
across
fire.
all that. Yeah, that was my favorite course for
much
sure.
respect to him.
Appreciate that. What would you say is the biggest area of improvement with HBCUs?
Biggest area of improvement, I would say many of our institutions are historically underfunded. And because of the lack of funding, the facilities aren't where they need to be. So I think people need to understand that the facilities are capital improvement projects. And oftentimes, specifically for public schools, you get your capital funds from state budgets. Well, if state budgets like grossly underfund us,
Right.
then we don't have the additional capital to be able to build these facilities. So I would say the lack of funding to address some of our facility needs is dire. And then I would also say, biggest area of improvement. I would encourage alumni to show more grace towards leadership and administration. I think that many of us have nostalgia when we think about what our HBCU experience was.
Right.
And because of that, there's sometimes a level of entitlement in which people believe that this is my school and this is how things should be.
Yeah.
While not always understanding the nuances and things that the administration is working on behind the scenes to ensure that all of the things in which you all don't have to think about or worry about is being addressed to ensure that our students are getting the best possible experience they can have. And then sometimes because of the lack of funding all the way around, whether that be, again, state funding, federal funding, alumni giving, things of that nature, we don't have the additional resources to hire the supports that would make some of these transitions more seamless.
Yeah.
So I think that I would only ask for alumni to improve in terms of being more gracious, patient, and understanding, and then giving back some time to our schools. Like a lot of us say we love our schools, but we only come back during homecoming.
Right.
Some of us say we love our schools, but we trip on paying that $35 to get your ticket, or you find a different way to come back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or some of us, we're taught down on our institutions online, or carry our in-house issues outside, or take our in-house issues outside. And I think that we have to sit back and assess and then find ways to be solution oriented opposed to condemning.
Nice. I like those answers. And I like that you give multiple answers, by the way.
All
Like,
right,
I know
cool.
earlier it was like, yo, I'm not good. Nah, actually, that's way more, perspective.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. Okay. I'm going to rewind to a
All right.
question you thought I was going to ask you
Okay.
in the beginning between South Carolina State and Virginia State. I'm not
All
going to
right.
make you pick between the two.
Thank you, bro.
Not going to make you do that. However, with one being the MEAC, one being CIAA, and you have plenty more conferences, let me ask you, what is the best HBCU conference?
I thought that was the question.
Oh, you thought that was going to be the one? Okay.
Yo, I think they're both really dope.
Yeah.
You know, we're encouraging everybody from the MEAC, CIAA, and all 4 of the Power 4 conferences to come participate in the BCIC.
Yep.
Shout out to Commissioner Jackie McWilliams and Commissioner Sonia Steels. That's from the MEAC and the CIAA. They have 2 sisters leading their conferences. So, you know, man, I can't pick.
Okay.
I honestly can't pick.
You got to. Just one.
I
just
cannot
one.
pick, bro. If y'all want this tournament to come to Charlotte,
okay,
we need to make sure we cover.
All right, so for the sake of the BCIC, then
Yeah.
okay, well, can you get? Oh, since you're good at giving multiple, can you just lay out a couple conferences and what's good about them?
Yeah, I would say the CIAA is probably the most well-oiled machine out of the 4 power HBCU conferences. When we say 4 power or HBCU Power 4, that would be the MEAC and the SWAC. Those are the Division I schools, and then you have the CIAA and the SIAC from the Division II perspective.
Yeah,
I would say the CIAA is, again, probably the most well-oiled machine in terms of member institutions. They have 13, if I'm not mistaken. The SWAC has a lot of schools as well, but the CIAA has such a rich tradition of sports and persons supporting their sports no matter what. I would say, like, you have to, in some regard, pay homage. And then they have the longest tenure commissioner, Commissioner Jackie Williams. She's been in, I think, going on 15 or 20 years, if I'm not mistaken. And they are very well-oiled machine. I think when you look at the MEAC, the SWAC, SIC, like, I think all 3 of those conferences are also doing really good work. Exposure is the thing for a lot of our institutions, and many of which have moved forward with HBCU Go, having them highlight some of our schools and televise some of the programming. ESPN Plus has come on board and also supporting in that regard. I think none of us can deny the impact of Deion Sanders when he was at Jackson State.
Yeah, and thank you for saying that.
Yeah. I mean, much respect. I didn't necessarily agree with him leaving the school, but I get it.
Yeah,
and I definitely gonna knock a man for doing what's best for him and his family. But I think when you have individuals like that come back and shed highlight on our institutions and how good they are, and just how we're just as good, and in the culture, HBCU sports I think are moving in the right trajectory. And for that reason, you know, I'm needing everybody to come out and support the BCIC.
So let's talk about the BCIC. Like we said.
Well, hold on. Before you go into that, your man was on here saying, "Yo, the CIAA got to come back to Charlotte."
Okay,
what's my man's name? I'm sorry.
You talking about Ghost Man?
Ghost Man. You know, shout out to Ghost Man.
Yeah.
He had the wing recommendations and the food spots. I watched the episode. It was dope. Listen, man, for everybody who's like, "Yo, we want the CIAA to come back to Charlotte," I'm not going to get into that, right? I'm not going to speak on the CIAA, but listen, we have the opportunity to have not just one conference be here, but all 4 different conferences participate in a tournament that we're going to crown an HBCU champion. Like, yo, there's never been an entity like this. This is the first of its kind. So we need everybody to come out and support this. If y'all thought the afterlife and whatnot, the after party and the nightlife was dope during CIAA, we have
just
some things,
CIAA.
Just CIAA. We have some things planned that, again, are going to showcase all 4 of the conferences, all 4 of the cultures, the differences in the culture with all 4 conferences. So we need y'all to come out and support, yo, and buy tickets. Like, can I be candid real quick?
Please do.
So we got one shot at this, like, literally. Again, I can't speak on CIAA. I can't speak on what's going to happen or what's coming back or whatever. All I know is we have this now, and we got one opportunity. We have to sell 10,000 tickets, and we need to be able to show $10 million in economic impact. Y'all, we can do this. Other tournaments, I'm not going to say which, but other tournaments that have been in Charlotte have done over $20 million in economic impact. They've sold upwards of 25,000, 30,000 tickets. 10,000 tickets is not it's not like this astronomical number. But if we only come back to party, then I can assure y'all we probably won't have this again. It won't be here. Like, I had to go through hell and high water to be able to bring this to a place in which I love. We are having several different give backs. Like, this is a community endeavor. We're working with a lot of local folk, but we got to support this, y'all. Like, we can't, excuse my language, we can't bullshit. We can't play around. We can't just say we coming only to turn up, or we not. It's gonna be one and done. So, you know, my bad for
you good.
Going and all of that.
Let's keep it going. So, as you saying, not only showing up just to turn up, me asking around the Charlotteans in regards to CIAA weekend. Did you experience it, by the way?
Yeah, I went for 10
Okay.
years straight.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So one of the things that they a lot of them said was that the city benefited from CIAA weekend, but not the actual conference in CIAA
Mhm.
because they didn't sell as many tickets the conference didn't make as much money because the tickets didn't match the amount of people that were in the city that came just to party. That's something I heard. I didn't do research on it. That's just what I'm hearing from Charlotteans. So
Yeah.
my question for you, put you in the hot seat.
Yeah.
How can you assure that the conferences will benefit and the actual tournament will be paid attention to and not people just wanting to show up to party?
Yeah, it's a great question. So again, I'm not going to speak on CIAA business.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not going to speak on their
Yeah,
business.
yeah.
You know what I'm
Understood.
saying?
Yep.
I will say though, for us, we are providing $10,000 to every team that comes and participates in the BCIC.
Okay.
They will get a $10,000 award again just for coming. We're covering all meals, all travel, all hotel and lodging.
Mhm.
In addition to that, we'll have a high school education day. So those will be 2 days, Thursday and Friday at the Bowplex Coliseum. We're going to have a step show. We'll have a closing concert. I can't say with who, but I think people can kind of deduce who will be here. Yeah. So we will have that going. Then we'll have a empowerment luncheon with all of the student athletes, in which we have some, I can't announce who yet, but we got some folks who people in the city really would want to see come in and speaking to our student athletes about financial literacy, financial and economic empowerment, NIL, entrepreneurship, and so forth. And then within the community, we're starting partnerships with the alumni associations that are here. So there, if I'm not mistaken, 72 HBCU alumni associations that are in Charlotte. So they'll be selling their own tickets with their own special discount code. But more than anything else, you'll see a list of Black businesses who will be our preferred business vendors that we're encouraging everyone to go and partake in while they're here in Charlotte. We're anticipating having over 1 million people come just for BCIC. So again, with 1 million people is our goal. Selling 10,000 or 25,000 tickets shouldn't be, you know, something that's too crazy.
Right.
And then those monies will be, again, going back into the community through the several different endeavors. So what will we do different to ensure people come? The high school bands will actually be playing during the games at the BCIC. So we're not going to necessarily have the schools bring their bands. There'll be the local bands playing. So you want to come support the babies. We're going to have, well, I can't really say the next part, but a lot of different things that are enticing local people who are born and raised from here to be a part of the actual tournament. The Bojangles Coliseum only holds 8,300 people. So again, over 4 days, can we sell 25,000 tickets? Like, you know, can we hit our minimum of 10,000 tickets being sold? Like, can we pack this joint out? I mean, even if you look at 25,000 tickets, that's roughly, you know, give or take 7,000 a day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, can we do that? I firmly believe that we can.
Oh yeah.
At a bare minimum, can we do 2,500 tickets a day?
Right.
Like, I firmly believe we can. And these are the things that we're going to have to show, quite frankly, the city of Charlotte as a whole, that we can do this. Because I think they're, and I will say, you know, the city they've been gracious partners. Shout out to Mayor Lyles. Shout out to Councilman Smudgy Mitchell. They've been very gracious and great partners. But there are some people who don't think that this can happen or that we can do it the right way.
Just like old boy who said, you going to HBCU, that won't lead to you becoming the person and the figure that you are today. You need that.
Exactly. We need that. So, you know, we have a very robust marketing plan. Shout out to my man. We edit.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can edit stuff out.
All right,
if you
so
need to.
shout out to my man Terrence J, who's just been announced as an ambassador for
Nice.
BCIC. And I want you all to go to our Instagram page. You'll see him talking about the tournament there, how he'll be here. And we have a list of other ambassadors, including Wanda Durant, Mama Durant, Jeezy on our board of directors. I mean, there's several different people who are coming and they want to be supportive of this endeavor. And now we just need us to support it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. You definitely got my support.
Good,
Because like I said, that's how this even happened. So let me shout out to your team. I think her name is Ariel. Is it Ariel? Ariel, yeah. Shout out to Ariel for even setting this up because she came across the CIAA weekend post that I made, the reel that I made. And it was full circle because right as I made that, a lot of people were either tagging me or sending me a DM like, yo, I heard something's coming next year. You know what I mean? So then she followed me and sent me a DM. Was like, hey, this is what we got going on. I was like, okay, that's what's up. Like, I would
Yeah.
love to help.
Yeah.
And then she connected us two. So shout out to your team for even, setting this up. So
yeah, we have a great team, man.
Yeah.
From Ari to Russ to Josh, to Steve. I mean, we have Kareem. There's a lot of folks on the team. There's definitely not a solo endeavor. And then our gracious partners, Van Wagner, they have been great.
Yeah.
But we really want to make this, something really dope for the community,
Yeah.
dope for the city. A few of us, some of us are from down south. A couple folks are from Charlotte.
Mhm.
We're partnering with a lot of local party promoters and to create different and curate different experiences.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure everybody eat.
Yeah.
But we got to do this right, y'all, or if not, we're not going to be able to have it again.
Yeah.
And I really hope that this can be something we can have for 20, 25, 50
Life-changing.
years. Yeah,
Life-changing.
it lives longer than any of us. Our
Yeah.
kids, will be talking about how you going to have some kids and they're going to be talking with my daughters about
Right.
how their dads was having a podcast talking
Yeah.
about BCIC.
That's crazy.
And that's really what this is about. This is
Yeah.
for us. We don't need anybody else.
Right.
We don't have to beg anybody else to play in their tournament.
Right.
We don't got to wonder why our schools didn't get picked or why we always getting the 16th
Yeah.
seed. We can go and do this for us. We can pay our schools for coming. Because for those who don't know, the schools don't get paid to play in the NIT. They don't get paid to play in some of these other new postseason tournaments. We're paying our institutions to come and play because we value them. We're paying our student athletes. We're providing them with an experience that's first class.
Yeah.
We have all of our hotel rooms under $240. Many of them under $200. You can go check the website and reserve your room. Our tickets are affordable. They're only $40. They're $44. Like we want, again, to make this a world-class, first-class experience for us, led by us, and benefiting us.
That's what's up, man. Let me ask you, how did this even come about?
Man, I'll tell you. So shout out to my man Josh and HBCU Nightly. So last year we were I like to support the MEAC basketball tournament. It's in Norfolk. So I go down and watch the games. Shout out to the mayor, Kenny Alexander and Danica Royster. Like I was going to the games, right? And I thought Norfolk State had a really good season. There were a couple schools, I don't want to single them out. There were a couple schools that had really good seasons, had beat some Power Fives, and I thought their records justified them having the ability to play in a postseason tournament.
Okay.
Specifically Norfolk State.
Yeah.
They lost in there during the conference tournament, and they didn't receive an at-large bid to the tournament. So I was looking online and, on Twitter, and people were saying like, "Yo, that's crazy. This is why we need our own." And I hit Josh up, and I was like, "Bro, we don't really know each other like that, but I've been thinking about like doing our own tournament." He was like, "Yo, we saw we was just tweeting about let's do it." So we were having some conversations. We were talking to some other people, and there were a few other people who were also trying to do similar.
Yeah.
It kind of fizzled out, and this is probably where it's gonna sound crazy, bro. Like, so that was in March, April conversations. We were starting, it just fizzled out. I had a dream in December, and it was as clear as day, like God telling me, go do the tournament.
Yeah.
Like, be obedient, go do the tournament. And I hit Josh and I'm like, "Yo, bro, we got to do the tournament." And he was like, "Yeah, I'm still with you. I just been really busy." So I was like, "It's all good. Don't worry about it." Put together a proposal. Started talking to different people who I knew were in the space. So Craig Littlepage was the athletic director at University of Virginia, but he served on the NCAA selection committee. So I hit him up like, "Yo, I'm thinking about doing this tournament." He sent me like 15 questions back about these are the things the NCAA will ask you.
Yeah.
We had a meeting with the NCAA. They gave us approval. I spoke to my president at Virginia State, Makola Abdullah, and he was like, "Yo, that's something that I always want to do too, like blah, blah, blah."
Yeah.
We started talking, spoke to our AD, Peggy, Miss Peggy Davis. They kind of geared me and steered me in terms of different conversations. And then I just started talking to folks. Came down, had a meeting in Charlotte with Councilman Mitchell. He was like, "Oh, I love this." Eventually, it led to us having conversations and being connected to Van Wagner. Julius Grant, who's the VP at Van Wagner. He was like, "Yo, Commissioner McWilliams told me this was coming, and this proposal is serious." Wound up talking to all the commissioners, meeting with several ADs. Then finally came and had some more formal conversations with the city to secure the venue. And while it was bumpy, I'm not gonna get into all of that. It was a challenge, but in the grand scheme of things, it went relatively quickly. Like from December having the dream to the formal announcement in August.
Yeah.
And now in March, we're actually going to have the tournament along with several other events. It's going pretty fast. And again, it's really just, I believe, being obedient in God's favor, because there's been, I think, no less than 25 other entities that have tried to put together HBCU postseason tournaments. And we're the first one to be able to move forward in this direction.
Yeah, get this.
So yeah, I think,
That's what's up.
that's what happens.
That's what's up, man. And just a breakdown of the tournament itself and
Yeah.
the details and everything.
Yeah, so it's gonna be dope. So the tournament takes place on March 20th through the 23rd. That's a Thursday through a Sunday. We'll be inviting teams from all four of the HBCU Power Four conferences. So essentially, what will transpire is when schools win their conference tournament, they get an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament, what they will accept.
Nice.
Which we respect. But the teams who come in second place, who lose in the conference championship, they will get an automatic invitation to our tournament. And then the team with the next highest net ranking will get an automatic invitation to our tournament as well. So that's kind of the selection committee, if you will.
Okay.
So that'll be 2 teams from each of the 4 conferences. That gives you 8 teams. We'll have a men's tournament and a women's tournament. So that's how you get 16 teams.
Yeah.
We're going to have a golf tournament that takes place to kick everything off on Tuesday, March 18th. Then Wednesday, we'll have a Welcome to Charlotte reception along with our student empowerment luncheon. That'll be, again, Wednesday the 19th. And then the actual games start on March 20th, Thursday, March 20th. High School Education Day will take place in the morning on both that Thursday and Friday. Then the goal is for those students to come to the game.
Right.
And then, the games will take place, again, Thursday through Sunday is single elimination. The Division 1s will play each other. Division 2s will play each other.
Okay.
And then subsequently, the champions will be crowned on Saturday and Sunday. And we're, again, looking forward to having a first-class experience. Step show, Battle of the Bands, Education Day, golf tournament. I mean, it's a full week-on experience that we really believe is going to be first class. It's not cheap. But we believe in putting our money where our mouth is and showing our people that they're valued. And this is kind of how we show our value to our people, by not cutting corners, not doing anything second class. And we hoping that everybody comes out and supports.
Yeah, they will. We will, man. That's what's up, man. So shout out to you. Got to give you a props. Shout out to you. Shout out to the Dream. The other partner is Josh. Did you say his name?
My
Shout
man
out Josh.
Josh, Russ. Josh serves as our chief marketing officer. Russ is our COO. Russ bought some stuff over for you earlier. Russ is like Superman. He lives here in Charlotte. He does a lot of work.
Yeah, he got here quick.
Yeah, man. That's my man. He's one of my best friends. We went to school together. He went to Claflin. I went to South Carolina State, and he's been a huge help. I mean, our whole team, it's really come together. Like as a whole, people have been hitting us up like, yeah, we want to support. How can we help? Can we do this? Can we do that? And it's been a labor of love. Like, none of us are getting paid. Like, none of us are, we making no bread. We're just doing it because we feel it's the right thing to do. We're actually paying out of pocket to do a lot of this stuff. But nonetheless, we believe that it's going to be great for the culture and we all will benefit.
That's what's up, man. So shout out to y'all for that.
Yeah.
To change directions a little bit, after this, you're going to your daughter's. She's cheering for a game, right? Correct.
Yeah.
So one thing,
Dub C.
Yeah. Oh yeah, West Charlotte.
Yeah,
Shout out
Dub C,
West Charlotte.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
They be lit. It's like everyone went to West Charlotte.
Yeah,
right,
I know,
man.
it's crazy.
Everybody went to West Charlotte. So one thing, it's even a tag on your IG, Girl Dad. And one thing, doing my research on you that you always shed light on is being present for your daughters.
My daughters. Yeah.
How many do you have?
3 girls.
3 girls. All girls?
All girls.
Okay, so
Girl Dad for sure.
yeah, so shout out to you for that. So shedding light to being present for your daughters.
Yeah.
You're obviously a busy person, taking time out of your schedule to make sure you're present, right? You're always making sure that's, of importance.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, as someone who is a girl dad, what would you say is the biggest importance, if you would, of a father being present in a little girl's life?
Oh man, I think the confidence that we can instill within them, and then understanding that they're loved, and they don't need anybody else for anything else. Like, I prefer my daughters to know, they know your dad will always be here to get you what you need, and in most cases what you want. And I have no qualms with being very clear, and I want to provide my daughters with everything in which they want.
Yeah.
So they understand their value. It doesn't just come from materialistic items, but I mean the love that they need, the confidence that they need, the empowerment that they need. And I also will say I've been blessed with the honor to be able to raise 3 beautiful Black queens, but they also have phenomenal mothers.
Mm.
Like I have been blessed, like all of my daughter's mothers. They're phenomenal women, who care a great deal about their children, and we work together very well. And I think it's a testament to. I don't think situations always have to look the way in which some may see as ideal,
Mm-hmm.
because life isn't always ideal. Like I'm
Right.
not perfect.
Yeah.
I haven't always made the absolute best and most pristine decisions, but I do think that when individuals commit themselves to doing what's best for their children, the children can feel the love.
Oh yeah.
And I know from my girls, they know it doesn't matter where daddy is. Like he will fly back or he will drive to be present and be where you need me to be when you need me to be there, or I'm never too busy to pick up the phone or do what's necessary or needed to again be present. So if I gotta drive after I've been wherever, I'll do it. If I gotta get on a plane after I've been wherever, I'll do it, because I want you to know that you are a priority, and daddy's trying to work very hard to assure that you can have the lifestyle that you want, but also more than anything else that you know that you're valued.
Yeah. Yeah. Know that you're
Long
valued.
answer, my bad.
Nah, it was. I mean,
Yeah.
nonetheless, it's a great answer. Know that you're valued. Yeah. So to kind of go to the opposite end of the spectrum, say little girls out here who don't have a father figure, which unfortunately in the Black community is above average.
Well, in community, I think in white communities, Latino communities,
In
sometimes,
community in general.
yeah, Black folks, sometimes we get a bad rap about the lack of presence. But CDC has put out studies saying Black fathers are the most active cultural group out of any ethnicity. Nearly 7 out of 10 Black dads engage in some regard with their children. So I'm not negating the fact that there's a need.
I appreciate this.
Yeah, I don't want to be disrespectful at all. I'm not negating.
I don't take to offense when I'm corrected. Nah, like I appreciate that.
I'm big on
Because
respect.
I probably sounded ignorant saying that.
No,
you
you
know
just
what I mean?
sound. I think that these are our conversations are necessary.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that we always have to condemn each other in conversation.
Right.
Like we can just talk, and I can learn something from you. You learn something from me,
Right.
and we grow. But I think to answer the question, like like brothers are needed to be in their children's lives, specifically if you're talking about their daughters' lives.
Yeah.
To understand, so little sisters can understand their value. But I may have an alternative approach in some regard as well, because I don't think it's solely up to the parents to raise and develop children. Like it's also up to the community. We all have an obligation to help all of our
The
children.
village.
If we're truly going to be a village, then we have to exemplify what the village looks like.
Right.
That means course correction. That means lending a level, a ear or a word of positivity, or a word of encouragement, or speaking something of empowerment. Or maybe you have the skill set to set up a program in which you can mentor young ladies. Maybe we can, spend a little less time on this and a little more time hugging ours and doing what we got to do in real life. I think it's, again, the community. The community's responsibility as well.
Yeah, I would say it's huge for the community. I also would say it's one figure or example, if you would, that's vast majority of this the example set. And when that parent isn't there, then someone has to fill that void for the biggest person. That's why, if like let's take little boys, for example, if they don't have that father, grandfather. For me, my father wasn't there, but it was my grandfather.
Yeah.
It was my uncles. It was my older brother. I always had like the biggest example set.
There you go.
Definitely my grandfather.
Yeah.
And for someone that maybe doesn't have that, if they go searching for that in a village and it's a positive role model, if you would, they're set. But I think when they go searching outside of the family because they don't have that,
or if they're searching on this,
searching on the phone, then whether it's positive or negative, that biggest sample or example set, they're going to take that in. And unfortunately, when it's negative, that's when you get people that are kind of led down the wrong path. Because when you're younger, you don't, what I'm saying, you could be manipulated easier. Because
your frontal lobes aren't developed. For women, data will say it's around 25, maybe 28. For men, it's not until 33. Those are scientific facts. So both young men and young women can be led astray, if not placed in the right environment, or some individuals step in and intercede. Like I had a similar story in terms of my dad's been on drugs most of my life. He wasn't the most present person
Mm-hmm.
in that regard, but I had, football coaches, basketball coaches,
Yeah.
homies who hustled up the street who, said you special, you gonna be
Mm-hmm.
A, B, and C, uncles, aunts,
Yeah.
people, the village.
Yeah.
And I think that we never know what we can do when we decide to be patient with someone else,
Yeah.
specifically a young person. So I only encourage people the next time you see that young lady or that young man who say, these kids just wild and they don't want to listen, or all they want to do is listen to Sexy Red and they out here wild and popping pills or whatever. Like, you could be the person that sparks the change in that young person's life. They could be waiting to just hear from you.
Wow.
And we have to be willing to put ourselves in position to help. If we
Yeah.
truly want to be the village, we can't develop a village and be afraid of the youngest offspring.
Yeah. Because sometimes we don't even realize the impact that we have.
Yeah.
Like, because the kids might not say it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They more than likely not going to say it. They're going to be like, yeah, all right, man.
Right.
But then, yo, you know what, bro? Like, this old head told me, blah, blah, blah. Yo, like, they soak it up.
Thinking about it, that's how I was. Like how you said, football coaches, teachers, administrators, like it was a lot. Like maybe if I clowned them a little bit at the time because they might have been seen a little corny.
Yeah.
But as time went on, I truly appreciated the lessons they taught me, the words they would, preach upon me. So yeah, that's definitely a very important
And sometimes it only takes 5 seconds to give a compliment.
Yeah.
Sometimes it only takes 20 minutes to have a conversation to empower a kid to go down the right path. Like in the grand scheme, you could give 15 or 20 minutes of your time and change the trajectory of a young person who's seeking something.
Through positivity. I forgot where I said it. I forgot the numbers, so I might butcher this a little bit. But like, I think it was like age 10 or 12, the average child by 10 or 12, the amount of negative compliment, I don't know the opposite of compliment, negative.
Enforcements that they give.
Comments towards that kid. It doesn't have to be drastic, but just in general, the amount of negative comments that a kid receives by like 10 or 12, it's in the thousands, in the tens of thousands. It's insane, as opposed to the positive ones.
Yeah.
That's why you see like so many young kids that, maybe say they're dealing with depression on them,
anxiety.
be kind of
It's
anxiety
real.
low on themselves because they didn't receive that positive, uplift.
Bro,
if you would.
think about the adults who can't handle negative comments on social media.
Yeah. And that's a huge part of it, social media.
Yeah, and then you think about the young people and you think they're supposed to have the mental and emotional fortitude to push through when they're, again, frontal lobes aren't even developed.
Right.
That doesn't even make sense.
Right.
So we have to supersede that in some regard, just be positive. It doesn't cost us anything to be nice to each other.
Right.
It doesn't cost us anything to operate with integrity and love on each other. It don't cost us nothing to show love, especially to a young person. So I just really think it's important in that regard, which I know you do as well.
Yeah. It is definitely key. Well, listen, great way to end it because, you know what I'm saying, this whole episode has been positive, and all it takes for one younger person to tune into it, and they may want to be the next Wes Bellamy. That's all it takes.
Better than me.
Yeah. That's all it takes.
Man, I appreciate you having me. Seriously, man.
I appreciate you for pulling up,
no
man.
doubt, bro.
You know what I mean?
Doubt.
Like I said, taking time out of your day, driving up here from. Did you come here from Charlottesville?
No, I came from Petersburg. I came from Virginia State.
Okay, cool.
Cool. So it's all good, man. I appreciate you having me, and I appreciate what you're doing with your platform, bro. And people are watching, and we supporting. So keep riding.
Thank you. And I'm, like I said, I'm happy to help any way possible with the BCIC.
Oh, don't worry, we about to put you to work, bro.
Yeah. We got to Rush. I threw some ideas at him. Like, yo, listen, let's make it happen. Let's go ahead.
No doubt. Don't worry, it's coming.
All right, yes, it's like that, man. And everyone tuning in, of course, I gotta thank y'all. I appreciate y'all from the bottom of my heart, like always. Whether you're watching, listening, and I'm looking at the numbers. A lot of y'all be listening, so shout out to y'all to be listening on your way to work, working out, walking the dog, whatever y'all doing. I appreciate y'all for listening and making me a part of your day while you're actually being active. But nonetheless, I ask that y'all like, subscribe, share this out, help the algorithm grow. And also, if you could fill out the questionnaire at the bottom of this episode in the bio, it takes 2 to 3 minutes. It's anonymous, but it just helps me improve this platform for y'all. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, make sure that y'all stay safe, stay sane, but most importantly, stay blessed. We out. Peace.
Love.